The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
You know, you have a fascinating background. You're the son of immigrants. You're going from a guy who came here with nothing, right?
Yep.
Your dad, who you obviously love, without a buck in his pocket. You're born, you went to Princeton. That's a good school, right?
So I'm told.
Okay, it's a good school. You became a great debater. You went to Harvard Law. You did all that stuff, United States Senator, in one big stump. Let me ask you about this thing about Trump. Now, Trump is out there still playing the birther card. I just wanted to get a reaction to some news today in the interview he did. Let's watch him today, again expressing skepticism about whether the President of the United States is actually a natural-born citizen of this country. Let's watch him here.
A few years ago, you led the birther movement. You sent investigators out to Hawaii to find out whether or not Obama, which you said was not born here.
Well,
and it turned out to not be true.
Well, I don't know. According to you, it's not true. I don't know.
He released his birth certificate.
Well, he's sticking to his guns on that. On the day you announced your candidacy, Senator, that Trump also said your birthplace, where you're born in Calgary, because your father was working up there, your father and mother at the time up in Canada, could be a hurdle for your campaign. Let's watch him here.
He was born in Canada. If you know, and when we all studied our history lessons, you're supposed to be born in this country, so I just don't know how the courts would rule on it. But it's an additional hurdle that he has that nobody else seems to have.
Well, actually, natural born means that you were born to American parents, so you don't have to be naturalized. I think you're completely in the clear here, as I believe from the beginning the president is, because Trump, he has never said that the mother of Barack Obama is not the mother of Barack Obama. But what do you think of the fact he still says it's a hurdle for you? And by the way, you're quite open about how you grew up and where you were born.
Well, sure. Now, look, I like Donald Trump. You know, there are a lot of folks in Washington right now that seem to be crawling all over themselves just to smack Donald Trump. I'm not one of them. I think he's bold. I think he's brash. And I think he's got backbone.
Well, why does he say stuff about you?
You know,
why does he say it's a hurdle for you when no one else is calling you trouble? And by the way, George, who is it? Romney. George Romney was born in Mexico, who American parents. John McCain was born in the Canal Zone. Barry Goldwater was born in Arizona Territory at the time. Nobody made a beef about that.
Yeah, look, the legal question is quite straightforward, that the child of a U.S. citizen born abroad is a natural-born citizen. As you noted, my mom is Irish and Italian, born in Wilmington, Delaware. And when I was born in Calgary, I was a citizen by birth. I've never breathed a breath of air on earth.
So you are black Irish. This is great. Anyway, a lot of your book has to do with a very powerful theme, which is about, and I agree with you on this completely, the betrayal.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.